Well, I've just arrived in Dawlish Warren on this little local train. If you're down in South Devon, you'll be using this train. It works its way along the coast. Starts at Teignmouth, runs up the estuary to Exeter, and then back down the other side of the estuary and finishes up in Torquay and Paignton. Directly outside the station is a small holiday park, and we just use the path across that, and we're on to the coast path. Now the plan today is to walk westward along the coast path to Teignmouth, and then at Teignmouth we simply get that little local train back here to Dawlish Warren. Very, very convenient, and this walk is a straightforward walk. A couple of little sharp climbs in it, but most of it's on hard surface as we walk along the seawall. Well, here we are, about 300 yards from the station, and we're on the coast. Now we're looking across the mouth of the River Exe. We're looking across to Teignmouth. Sea is very still today. It's an autumn day, so not so many people around. And this is westward, the route that we'll be walking towards Teignmouth. Well, alongside the path, almost all the way, runs the railway. This is the route, the only route into Cornwall. It was designed and built by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. It's the only way really, otherwise you have to cut across and through the hills of Devon. So down this route is the little local train, but also all the larger trains as they head into Cornwall or back out. A short distance along is what is clearly labelled as the Elephant Rock Cafe, but in all the years I've been coming here I've never seen it open. Behind it is this large mound, which I assume is the Elephant Rock, and there is a path up to the top. Let's make our way up here. This is a slight diversion, but you can get a good view from the top. So we'll scramble up that path there. Now at the top you can see the direction we're going to be walking. There is the railway line. In fact, there is a train coming towards us. And then next to that is the seawall, which we can walk along into Dawlish, or we can walk along the beach. Now last time I came up here, I found a chap had set up his tent for the night. Wild camping is not strictly allowed. What a lovely spot. Well, that's just a view back at the Elephant Rock, where we were standing just a few moments ago. Now the tide is well out this morning, but when the tide's right up and there's a good wind, you can get wet walking along this path. You can see that with the gravel that's been thrown up. The waves will splash over here. It can still be walked, but be prepared to get wet. Now in the distance you can see the houses. That's actually Dawlish town. There is a railway station there if you want to stop there and work your way back. Beyond that, out on the peninsula, there is a green field, and the path we're going to take goes up alongside that before it drops down onto the seawall at Teignmouth. Now, although this is the only and main line into Cornwall, the trains are not really a problem. You'll see one along here probably every 10 minutes or so. There are basically three types. I'll show you the types as they come through. This is the cross country. And they run all the way from Plymouth up to Edinburgh. And in fact that one's going right up to Aberdeen. Possibly the longest line in the country. Then there are the Great Western Railway trains. These run from London Paddington right the way down to Plymouth. And thirdly, we have the little local trains, the one I arrived on, little 2 and 3 carriage trains which just work the coastal route. Just over from the railway we have these large Victorian houses. With the railway came the development of seaside resorts. And a lot of Victorian building went up at that time. And then some more Victorian buildings up on the right. And these also date from about the 1850s, 60s, 70s as the resort was developed. Well, we're coming into the town of Dawlish now. And it's just a few years ago they had this new seawall built. Flooding was a problem. But the seawall itself is an absolute monstrosity. There's been no effort to coat it in local stone so it fits in. And all you've got is bare concrete, weathering a bit now. And over here, just more plain concrete slabs. Very disappointing. Dawlish, nice little town. One of the absurdities are these concrete benches, wood-faced, which face out towards the sea. Let me show you the view when you sit down on the bench. Not very inspiring. Don't be put off by this concrete. It's a great shame. Dawlish is a pleasant little town and you don't have to walk very far before you get away from this brutal architecture. You can see a little more clearly now the green mound that we have to walk up before we drop down into Teignmouth. Here you can see some more of the grand Victorian architecture. And in fact this one on the end, the stone building, there's a date at the top telling us that it was built in 1880. Well, the yellow one has a very distinctive design with the 2 cones, 2 pointed bits on the top. It's boarded up and in fact it's for sale. And as we leave Dawlish and start on the first of 2 short, sharp climbs, we see another row of these once grand Victorian houses. Now we're working our way up this rather steep path, take us over the first bit of cliffs. As we pause to look back, you can see the town of Dawlish on the left, the railway line, then the seawall that we were walking. You can probably make out in the distance the bit sticking out in the sea, that's Elephant Rock that we climbed to the top of. Lovely views. When we reach the top we can look forward. We'll be making our way along the high ground on the right, but you can see the railway track where it goes into a tunnel. For about 100 metres we pop out onto this busy road. We're just up here, we take a left and get away from it again. We have a few hundred metres along this little quiet lane, just residential traffic. Well, we touched very briefly, just for a few yards, back onto that main road again. Because at the end of the grass there's a left turn which swings us back towards the cliffs. You see here there's a flight of steps going down, a little bit of building work going on there. And now we're on this coastal path again, where it will dip down, and then we have the second of the short, sharp climbs up again. Now they've been doing a lot of work along here over the last few years, because the railway has to go through a series of tunnels down by the sea, and they've been busy reinforcing those tunnels, preventing rock falls. And this presumably is the last of it. Further along in that green field up there was one big building site at one time, but they put it right back to where it was. A great job. You wouldn't have known that they've been there for several years. Beside the path is this lovely little clump of wild cyclamen. We're heading down this slope now. A little bit slippery with all the loose stones. Now if you come here in the summertime, you'll find this route is very popular. You'll meet plenty of people, but we're now in the autumn and it's fairly early. It's about 11 o'clock. Very few people out and about. Right, this is the low point, and the steps opposite climb up again. And you can see here over this fence the railway line between a couple of tunnels. It comes out into the open. So we have to drop down there. A little bit of water in the stream. They've just rebuilt this stream after they did all the building work on the railway tunnels. And down there is the railway line, and you can just glimpse up there, there's Dawlish, the white buildings. Well, that's the top of that rise, and now we're looking back over Dawlish. This is one of those paths I'm always glad I carry a pair of secateurs with me. The brambles encroach so quickly. Just cut them off, keeps the path clear for other people in the long term. At the end of this path we enter a small residential road, and then we meet that more busy road that we've seen a couple of times in the past. Now this is the one small bit that I don't like because it's dangerous. We have to cross this road now, walk about 100 metres down the other side and then cross back, because there simply isn't a footpath on this side. Now this is a busy road, even in the winter. In the summertime it can be almost impossible to get across. We're okay today. You can see it's a fast straight road. I do wish the councils would put up some pedestrian controlled crossings to get people across safely. It is part of the major walking route, the Southwest Coast Path. And this is what you see in the summer. You see a non-stop stream of cars in both directions. Well, we've walked 100 metres and now we have to cross over onto the other side. I'm just going to wait for these cars this side. I'll hop across quickly. Not too bad in the autumn, but very dangerous in the summer. And just for 100 metres. And just down here where those people are crossing, we head down a steep path and pick up the seawall again. And this area is known as Holcombe, as you probably saw on the road sign. So down this little steep lane to my left. This is Smuggler's Lane. Stream on our right. At the bottom we meet the railway again. On my left is the Salted Dog Cafe. It's out of season now, but in season, good place to stop for tea and cake. So we go down past this little bit of Holcombe Beach. Now when the tide's in, you might have to paddle through this bit, but it's never very deep. Walk along here underneath the railway viaduct. You can see it's got some age to the construction, probably one of Mr. Brunel's, and you can see it's been widened at some time. We come up to some steps which takes us up onto the seawall. Very similar to what we saw down at Dawlish. The railway runs along on our right, the seawall is up high, and the beach down there. Well, I've dropped down off the seawall. You can see it up there with the people walking, and I'm going to do a stretch across the beach. Now, when you walk along here and look at the seawall, you can see it's been built in the local stone, and that's what makes me so annoyed about what they've done at Dawlish, because they've done it in reinforced concrete and just left it, and they could have faced it off in the local stone and made it look a lot better. And at the end of this section of the beach, there's a ramp up, and we'll rejoin the path on top of the seawall. Well, at the top we're back on the path on top of the seawall beside the railway line. There's also a little promontory here, just a small diversion. We'll follow it. It comes round very shortly to join the seawall again. Now, I know that along here, just inside here, some people spread the ashes of their beloved ones. It's a little memorial garden that's grown up over time. There's a couple over there, one here with pictures and flowers. You see a train in the background, one there of a young lady, and another one here. I always think it's rather nice, although no doubt it's against all the bylaws. But I guess once you've spread the ashes, the train made me jump, once you've spread the ashes, it's just a nice little spot. We'll come back out, and then the path turns right and joins back with the main path. You can see that stretching along there, and the houses and the church tower in the distance is Teignmouth. Just coming into Teignmouth now. Well, this is the promenade at Teignmouth. Pretty busy, getting up towards midday, and it's not raining, so people are out and about. Over the other side of the road we've got a delightful row of Victorian houses, but these are in beautiful condition. You really will enjoy Teignmouth, delightful place. You can walk along this promenade for quite some way now. Takes you out to where the River Tyne comes through. I'm going to call a halt at this point. I'm going to just go a few hundred yards across to my right into the town, and I'll pick up a train back to where we started, Dawlish Warren. Now this walk has taken me 2 hours 20 minutes. I haven't hurried particularly, so well worth doing. One of my favourite walks. Till the next time.